Well, next time when the landman knocks at your door and asks you to sign the lease, what are you going to do?
I'll go through our 45-minute discussion once again of our principles, our basis, tell him to go back and find someone further up in the company who can really make a decision and has influence, and then make sure they understand what we're talking about and why we're doing it, and that they really want to have that conversation. Audubon Society works to connect people to birds and nature, and through our programs, projects, and places. And we have 3 centers now, Beechwood Farms Nature Reserve, Todd Nature Reserve, and Suckup Conservancy. And a little while later, Marcellus Shell came on very strong, and we started getting calls several times a week from landmen working for gas companies saying, hey, you have 240 acres there, 110 acres there, would you be interested? We're working in the area. There were probably about a dozen landholders that got together, hired someone to negotiate for them. We were invited in to participate with the process and did for a while. Unfortunately, the consultant really did not include all of our environmental concerns in his package when he put it out to bid, and although they got something that financially was a fairly nice deal, it did not include the things that we thought were important to have there. And so we obviously did not participate with that.
Where are we going now?
We are going to go up to Todd Nature Reserve, which is in Buffalo Township, Butler County.
And what happens over there?
Well, Todd is actually our oldest and largest reserve. We've often been asked, do we have an official position on this? And at this point, we don't have a white paper position on gas drilling as a whole. I think in many ways our board, our organization is a microcosm of the discussion that's going on in the broader community. We have people from a variety of different backgrounds, some that come from regulatory backgrounds, some that work for other nonprofits, some that are school teachers, some that are environmentalists, some that are business leaders. And they all brought to the table both their personal opinions as well as their professional opinions. And I can say that at the very beginning, I'd had people saying, Jim, why are you even bringing this up as a topic? Absolutely not. To others saying, wow, boy, that's something we should really look into. This could be a wonderful opportunity.
Any discussion, to have a open and honest discussion requires a couple things. One is respect amongst the parties having the discussion for one another, their opinions. And secondly, good facts. And so much of our process that we went through at Audubon was fact gathering. We found it important to be able to have that discussion to first figure out what we knew and what we didn't know.
And through that, we have taken the long road, because this has been years of discussion, to get where we're at. And I think that that process in itself has been a healthy one for the organization, because it shows that we can delve into a topic, that we can put the hours and hours of time into it, rise above the emotion but not forget it, weigh the science, weigh the ramifications of it, and continually to evolve our position.
imagine if there was drilling here, the water trucks driving on.
Well, here's would be a question where there's a large, significant creek down below a waterway. That the question for the community or the landowner would be is, would you want to be taking water out of the creek or bringing trucks in? I'm going to take you down this one driveway here first. This is one of our private pieces here. This is a 110-acre section that we acquired about 10 years ago. And this is one of the things that helps inform our decision and our decision-making process. This is our driveway to our property that we have down here, plus 2 other neighbors that live at the end of it. One of those neighbors has signed a lease for their property. Our property sits almost completely surrounding theirs. Our neighbor's yard over there, potentially or theoretically, there could be a pad placed there. And with no additional restrictions, they would have some of the things that we're concerned about could happen whether we wanted them to or not. Just legally could happen. Todd Nature Reserve is just a beautiful place, and many people have a strong emotional attachment to it. Its geology and topography is a little bit unique in this area, and you have a number of deep ravines with streams running through it, and you see a variety of plant life here that you don't find as often this far south in Pennsylvania because of that. So we see a lot of wonderful birds coming through here, particularly during migration.
How far from here would the potential drilling site then be?
It could be as close as a quarter mile that direction if you were to go as the crow flies, is where our property line ends. What we want to do is to help the broader community. We've been working in this watershed for many years, decades, have done a significant amount of work recently. It is our way of actually investing further in the watershed. Our responsibility doesn't stop at the edge of our property. We look at it as being for the broader community. So we want to find a way to positively influence what is already going to happen. The headwaters for this does not start on our property, and that is one of the properties that is signed. There's nothing we can do legally to stop anything from happening there, other than investing in it and buying the property itself, or trying to influence what's going to happen there. But one thing that we had agreed of right to begin with when it came to Marcellus is any lease we signed would be a no surface disruption lease. So we would not actually have a pad on our property. That means we might consider signing a lease that might extract from underneath on a horizontal run, but an actual pad is something we've decided would not be appropriate. We also decided, since it was going to be non-surface disruption, there would be no gathering lines across the property. We look at the nature of this property being a nature reserve and its use, that would be in consistent use with it. If that meant that there was no drilling going on underneath us at all, then so be it. That would be the decisions that we would make. If there were neighboring properties and it was appropriate and we could have the influences for the other aspects, everything from pre-drilling activities and techniques up to all the processes they do, not just the drilling itself, but how infrastructure is impacted, coming and goings, final disposition of any of the waste materials, and actually final reclamation of the site were compatible or acceptable to us, then we would consider it. But our, I guess, most firm aspect is we wouldn't do this if we're just talking about our own property. It would have to be talking about the larger unit and the properties around us.
Do you think there is a gas company that is willing to work with you with those terms?
I think there are. I think that it does become an interesting challenge. There's certainly some that are not willing to do that. Either they have enough land that they don't need to, or they're just of a culture that says, you know what, we don't care, we're not concerned with that. Others are. I think that's why we usually try to talk local first. If you can talk to a decision maker, you can talk to someone who lives in the community, chances are they're going to be a lot more vested and be willing to look at that. And much to my board's credit, through all of our discussions and deliberations, money was never discussed. That it was a question of, can we leverage our involvement to make the process better, and that we would give up money to do that even, and without even discussing what that money is.
How much money is in question?
The decision for Todd itself is probably a $6 million discussion.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Obviously, it depends on market value, but you could conceivably be talking a $5 or $6 million decision for just this piece of property.
We had a whole group of educated, highly educated persons working on the issue, and you know, it does raise concerns in my mind that it would have behooved Pennsylvania to have some organized educational effort to help landowners, not to prevent them from making a decision, but assist them in making an educated decision as they are approached to lease out their mineral rights.
I think lately the term compromise has gotten kind of a bad reputation, and it's a dirty word, particularly if you're talking in politics, when quite honestly that's the essence of human existence. The definition of society is a bunch of people living together, and you can only do that by certain amounts of compromise, and reaching those group decisions is a healthy thing and is a noble pursuit. and that Marcellus Shell is one of those. We're deciding what is it that we need to live a lifestyle that we want. Are we willing to give up for that? What are we not going to give up? What are we going to demand? And hopefully we're going to demand that yes, we will have clean water, and we will have safe water, and we'll have breathable air. At the same time, we're going to have our other needs met.
You've also got to realize that moving into gas involves billions of dollars of investment. that billions of dollars of investment on putting more people on the Titanic could be spent putting more people on a ship that's not heading towards the iceberg. And that money put into research and development around renewables, while you're actually, instead of doing gas while you're actually building the solar system and hiring the people and getting all the taxes and building the healthy communities, etc. Why not? Why not go this way?